Tēnā tātou, kei au te tauranga tū te Māori tū te whiwhianu kutu. I puritia mai rā I roto I te whiwhiaroto. Tēnei te Māori ka whakapiki, te Māori e rangi e tūnei. Ka whakatuwhera e rangi, he putana ariki, nō kuno tū ki te whakatau irama. Tēnei te Māori ka whakakake, te Māori ka puta ki te whai ao ki te ao marama, haumi e, hui e, tai ki e. Nā reira tēnā tātou e hikama. Tēnā tātou me o tātou tini mate e takoto mai rā I o tātou kāinga marae maha o te ao. E te kāna kia mihihia, nā whānau e pēhia nei runga I te matau utā. Nā reira, mātou tau kaihanga e manaaki e taki a tātou katoa. Tēnā tātou katoa. Tēnā tātou. Mā te whakapapai ki ai ko ai koe, I ahu mai koe I hea, I ana whakamua koe ki hea. Ko te whakapapa te mea e hono ai tātou mai te rangi ki te whenua. Ki te tai ao, ki o tātou whānau, hapu iwi hoki me ōna kōrero katoa. Whakapapa defines who you are, where you're from, and what your future is. Whakapapa is a platform that connects us to our skies, our land, our rivers, lakes, mountains, whānau, and all our histories and stories here in this whenua we call Aotearoa, New Zealand. With that in mind, I would like to share with you some of the whakapapa of this kaupapa. Firstly, I want to acknowledge the strong platform created by the Arts Council and long-term supporters, the patrons and te papa, and the visionary leadership from a number of commissioners, including Dame Jenny Gibbs, who led our first presentation in 2001. New Zealand is a young country, but we have lots to say and contribute well to the global kōrero. New Zealand has diverse voices in practice, but they all connect to our special place in the world, Aotearoa, New Zealand. We're proud of our whakapapa and acknowledge those artists, curators, and the wider teams that have gone before us who have established a strong reputation for Aotearoa. We're equally as proud to now share our stories through Yuki's Paradise Camp exhibition, which extends into Te Moananui Ātiwa. So let me finish with a Māori proverb by the late Piri Shasha. He toi whakairo, he mana tangata. He mana tangata, he toi whakairo. Where there is artistic excellence, there is human dignity. Tēnā tātou.
I am delighted to speak to you from Aotearoa, New Zealand today, as we celebrate the opening of the New Zealand Pavilion at the Biennale Arte. Firstly, I'd like to say just how exciting this moment is for us here in Aotearoa. After the postponement caused by COVID-19, I'm thrilled that the work of New Zealand's selected artist Yuki Kihara, Paradise Camp, will now be revealed to the world. Yuki is the first artist from Aotearoa to present at the Biennale Arte, who is Pacific, Asian, and Faʻafafine. As a Pacific woman myself, I'm incredibly proud to see Yuki on the world stage representing our nation at this most prestigious forum. I've had the pleasure of knowing Yuki for a long time. New Zealand is small. Yuki and I have moved in the same social and professional circles going back at least 25 years. One of the highlights for me, aside from many enjoyable social events, was having the privilege of being alongside her at the Oceania exhibition in London, where her impressive artwork, Siva in Motion, was showcased. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say the Venice Biennale is at the pinnacle when it comes to international art exhibition. It is the dream for artists worldwide, celebrating superb contemporary art whilst nurturing the artistic heritage of many different nations. For Aotearoa, New Zealand, this is an exceptional opportunity to showcase the work of our top artists to a large-scale global audience, highlighting the place of our nation on the world stage. Our presence at the Biennale will help engage not only audiences, but also curators, writers, and collectors with the contemporary New Zealand art scene. These are important networks to build, even more so as museums, galleries, and international exhibitions start to reopen their doors and look to offer opportunities for our artists to exhibit alongside their international peers. Yuki's selection to represent New Zealand has highlighted not only the richness of our Pacific artistic heritage, but also the importance of Pacific perspectives in international artistic forums, something I hope we will see more and more of in years to come. Yuki is renowned for work that is engaging, visually striking and topical, and Paradise Camp is no exception. It speaks to the shared histories of Aotearoa, New Zealand and Te Moana Nui a Kiwa, as well as focusing on Yuki's homeland of Sāmoa. Congratulations, Yuki, on this much-deserved opportunity, and thank you for highlighting to the world these stories of the Pacific through your own unique lens. It has been inspiring to follow your journey to this moment. I also congratulate Natalie King, curator of Paradise Camp, and Ioana Gordon-Smith, assistant Pasifika curator of Paradise Camp, for their invaluable work helping realise Yuki's vision for this project. Whawhai tele lava also to New Zealand's arts development agency, Creative New Zealand, which funds and manages New Zealand's presence at the Venice Biennale. As Caren Rangi, Chair of the Arts Council of New Zealand, Toi Aotearoa, and Commissioner of the New Zealand Pavilion has said, quote, "As with all great projects, it takes a village to make it flourish," end quote. So I also thank all those in the Paradise Camp Village who have contributed to this significant occasion, the supporters, partners, and New Zealand at Venice patrons who have made this project possible. Last but not least, I want to acknowledge the Arts Council for its response to the challenges COVID presented, and in particular, Caren Rangi for her unwavering support and leadership. When New Zealand was first represented at the Venice Biennale in 2001, it was a huge milestone for our arts community and our nation. I'm delighted that a little over 20 years later, Yuki Kihara is showcasing her work on this most revered world stage. Today is a proud day for New Zealand, and I know Paradise Camp will be a sensation.
Kia ora koutou katoa, talofa lava, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa, and ciao. Welcome to the opening of New Zealand's Pavilion at the 59th International Art Exhibition, La Biennale di Venezia. And me taki, many thanks to Hon and Minister Sepuloni, who kicked things off with such warm words. Firstly, let me say how wonderful it is that after 2 years of waiting, we're finally here. A significant moment that we couldn't have got to without the support from all of those in the Paradise Camp Village. Whawhai tele lava and meitaki maata to our key partners, the Museum of New Zealand Te Papa Tongarewa and the Museum of Applied Arts and Sciences in Sydney. Our supporting partners, Tautai Pacific Arts Trust, Pātaka Art and Museum. Our pavilion sponsors, Milford Galleries, Nikki Stewart and Stephen Higginson, and Pātaka Foundation. Our donors, the New Zealand at Venice patrons and head of patrons Lee Melville and Claire Chamberlain. Our language partner, the National University of Sāmoa. Our supporting sponsor, Saletonga Sands Resort and Spa, also in Samoa. Our hospitality sponsors, Elephant Hill. Our digital partner, Digital Arts Network, and our university sponsor, the University of Melbourne. Massive thanks to those who worked tirelessly behind the scenes. There are many who've contributed along this journey, but I'd like to especially acknowledge Diego Carpentiero, Amber Baldock, Ashley O'Neill, Anita Gigi Wudai, Gui Tacheti, and Charlotte and Ambeda from our international PR agency, Sutton. And to my colleagues at Creative New Zealand, Kath Cardiff, Angus Everson, Haneko Takurapa, Jude Chambers, Cassandra Wilson, Heather Byrne, Ruby Pratley-Jones, our wonderful Pasifika Queens, and our incredibly helpful finance team. To our embassies in Samoa and Rome, it's wonderfully exciting to have been working together. Thank you. We appreciate the ongoing support from Rome, who are an important part of the New Zealand at Venice story. Thank you to my insightful executive committee members. You've provided invaluable guidance, especially while we've navigated the challenges COVID presented us. Lastly, to our creative team, to Yuki, Natalie, Joanna, Stephen and Nikki, congratulations, we got there. You've truly realised an extraordinary feat during extraordinary times. Personally for me, I'm absolutely honoured to have taken on the role of Commissioner for New Zealand's Pavilion. As a Cook Islands woman, it's incredibly special to be supporting an artist who is a shining light in our Pasifika communities. Yuki is a fabulously talented artist, and being selected as New Zealand's artist for this occasion adds yet another achievement to her astonishing career to date. I'm exceptionally proud of Yuki, being the first artist from New Zealand to present at the Biennale Arte who is Pasifika, Asian and Faʻafafine is an immense feat. It's been a pleasure to watch Yuki's journey to this significant moment. How interesting and appropriate that the Venice Central exhibition, curated by Cecilia Alemani, is called Milk of Dreams. When speaking about the original migration of Pacific people to New Zealand, the land itself has been mythologized as the land of milk and honey. This title marks a new set of journeys, like coming full circle. Paradise Camp, being presented at the Biennale, relinks Sāmoa with New Zealand and Venice. This is what the arts do, they connect us all. I'm so looking forward to the momentous occasion on Saturday the 23rd of April, when we can officially welcome audiences into our New Zealand Pavilion and continue the important legacy of sharing our unique stories with the world. In the meantime, I will raise the glass with those of you joining us this evening. To Yuki and the team, I hope you all enjoy this very special preview.
Te roa o te whenua, te tawhai ao atura, e noho ana hoki au, ke pone ke raia, e awhi ana hoki au, ko koera te karauna, hei whakairitana mō te mate o taku, tinana nei e ia.
My name is Natalie King, and I'm a Professor of Visual Arts at the University of Melbourne, primarily working as a curator of contemporary art. Thank you everyone for joining us across time zones, waterways and continents for this momentous occasion. I live in Naarm, Melbourne, and I pay my respects to the Bunwurrung as the traditional custodians of the land in which I live and work. In 2017, I was the curator of the first solo presentation by an Aboriginal artist in the Australian Pavilion with Tracy Moffat. And now I have the enormous privilege of working alongside Yuki Kihara as her curator. Yuki Kihara is an interdisciplinary artist based in Sāmoa and Aotearoa, New Zealand. She is immeasurably creative, indefatigable, and unassailable in addressing urgent issues that affect all of us. I first came across Yuki's work when she presented a solo acquisitive exhibition at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York in 2008, and I have longed to work with her ever since. Yuki has participated in numerous biennales in Daegu, Bangkok, Honolulu, and Sakahan, as well as 2 Asia-Pacific triennials. It takes a village to prepare a project of this magnitude, especially given the complexities of the past few years. We would like to thank our entire expanded team for their tireless efforts, in particular Yuki's gallerists, Nikki Stewart and Stephen Higginson from Milford Galleries for their unwavering support. Publisher Kirsten Abbott from Thames and Hudson, and our designer Ashley O'Neill from Salt Cam Studios. We also extend sincere thanks to Jude Chambers, Manager International Services and Initiatives, and the entire team at Creative New Zealand. Our Commissioner Caren Rangi for steering us towards safe passage. Venice Exhibition Manager Diego Carpentiero, the talented Ioana Gordon-Smith, Assistant Pasifika Curator, Anita Gigi-Budai for her exhibition design, Guy Tachetti, Production Assistant to the Artist, Amber Baldock, Exhibition Coordinator, Kirsty McDonald for her filming flair, and our exceptional PR team, Sutton and Media Links. We also acknowledge our esteemed Advisory Council for their guidance and advocacy. We thank all the models for trusting Yuki and for appearing in her work. Now I have the enormous pleasure of introducing Yuki Kihara, the first Pasifika, transgender, Indigenous and Asian artist to represent New Zealand at the 59th International Art Exhibition, La Biennale di Venezia.
Kia ora, talofa lava and greetings, and thank you to all our esteemed speakers on this exciting occasion. I would like to begin by acknowledging Māori as the Indigenous peoples of Aotearoa, New Zealand, on whose lands we virtually gather today. I am artist Yuki Kihara, and welcome to the Faʻafafine online opening of my exhibition entitled Paradise Camp, presented at the New Zealand Pavilion in the Arsenale at the 59th International Art Exhibition, La Biennale di Venezia. I am an interdisciplinary artist of Samoan and Japanese descent. I was born in Samoa, but emigrated to New Zealand, and I have joint citizenship of New Zealand and Samoa. Paradise Camp has been 8 years in the making and involved close to 100 people. Majority of the production took place in Upolu Island, part of the independent state of Samoa, located in central Polynesia, where I've been living and working over the last 11 years. Paradise Camp wouldn't be possible without the passion and dedication of so many people who made sure that Paradise Camp was presented in the best light at the Venice Biennale, despite the global pandemic. So for this, I would like to offer my gratitude to everybody who made the presentation of Paradise Camp possible. As we say in Samoa, olupe sa vau ese ese, ai ua fui fui fa'atasi, meaning we're from different parts of the forest, but connected in one cause. 8 years in the making, Paradise Camp was first inspired by an essay written by Ngā Hui Tewe Kotaku, presented at the Paul Gauguin Symposium held at the Auckland Art Gallery, Toyo Tamaki, in 1992. Ngā Hui's unpublished paper unpacked the encounters between Western explorers and Moana queer peoples from a Māori perspective. I further developed the idea of Paradise Camp after viewing Gauguin's paintings at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York during my solo exhibition entitled Living Photographs, also held at the Met in 2008. Paradise Camp is also inspired by Faʻafafine beauty pageants, which has its roots in Samoan culture, particularly in Faleaitu, a traditional comedic skit that originated from a group of entertainers performing acts before the high chiefs to direct their attention to urgent issues in the community. Shot and filmed on location in Upolu Island, Samoa, Paradise Camp features a local cast and crew close to 100 people. I worked closely with the Faʻafafine community to produce this new body of work that eloquently and provocatively investigates a range of critical issues, including the intertwinements of colonization, intersectionality, and climate catastrophe that impacts my community. Thank you very much for our fabulous speakers this evening. I am honored by your participation and support. And a special thank you to everyone watching from Samoa, Aotearoa, New Zealand, and around the world. It's great to have you here sharing in this online opening with us. And now I would like to thank my curator, Natalie King, who first contacted me in 2019 to submit a joint proposal together to represent the New Zealand Pavilion. I'm glad you were patient with me and offered your unwavering support to help me realize Paradise Camp. To Ioana Gordon-Smith, our Assistant Curator Pacific, thank you for all your hard work. To my gallerists, Nikki Stewart and Stephen Higginson from Milford Galleries, Dunedin and Queenstown in Aotearoa, New Zealand, thank you for your ongoing support with my art practice. Paradise Camp wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for my dedicated production team in Sāmoa and Aotearoa, New Zealand. We did it! I'm also grateful for the continuing support through chairs Lee Melville and Claire Chamberlain of the New Zealand at Venice Patrons Group, and the direct support, in particular, Dame Jenny Gibbs, the late Adrian Burr, Rose Dunn, Julian Knights, and Mark Blackburn. Faʻafafine lava to the Government of Samoa, the New Zealand High Commission in Apia, the Samoa Faʻafafine Association, Saletonga Sands Resort, Tongitonginga Waterfall, together with the villages of Amalie, Falevao, and Vava'u, where the photo shoots took place, for their support during the Paradise Camp production back in March 2020. Thank you to the ambassador and staff at the New Zealand Embassy in Rome. You are part of the New Zealand at Venice Whakapapa, and I greatly value your ongoing support and enthusiasm for my exhibition. I would like to thank Creative New Zealand for their support with Paradise Camp. I hope my contribution to the ongoing genealogy of New Zealand Pavilion at the Venice Biennale continues to expand the organization's mission for inclusivity, diversity, respect, and to continue to work with FIRST as you have done with me, as being your first Pacific, Asian, and Faʻafafine artist to represent the New Zealand Pavilion at this year's Venice Biennale. Last but not the least, alofa tele atu to my family and friends in Samoa, Aotearoa, and beyond. Your love and encouragement is what really got me through to the finish line. Creating Paradise Camp for the Venice Biennale has fulfilled a dream of mine. A dream to really produce a major project in Samoa with the involvement of the Faʻafafine and the Fa'atama community, with an outcome that would empower and celebrate our community to live an authentic life.
Paradise Camp is an ensemble exhibition of 12 new, luscious photographs shot on location in Samoa, from rural villages to churches, plantations and heritage sites, with a local cast and crew of close to 100 people. Yuki's photographs repurpose and upcycle paintings by Paul Gauguin, created during his time in Tahiti and the Marquesas. Yuki situates her photographs against a vast wallpaper of an oceanscape decimated by the 2009 tsunami. The suite of photographs is accompanied by an archive section highlighting Yuki's deep research in Polynesian queer histories. As well as a single channel moving image called First Impressions Paul Gauguin. Perhaps the most astonishing photograph is an elaborate portrait where Yuki returns indoors to a studio in Auckland, casting herself as Gauguin. Through this ingenious role reversal, Kihara commands her own space within the traditions of art history, while upending the conventions of portraiture itself. By addressing the intersectionality between decolonisation, identity politics, and environmental crises, Paradise Camp takes the tempo of our times from a staunchly Pasifika perspective.
Hey, so can you believe it? We're here. We made it.
Yay!
Oh my gosh. You know, after all this time, all this planning, the extra couple of years of COVID, can you finally believe we're here? How does it feel for you?
It feels surreal. It feels amazing. I'm exhausted and excited. All of the above. So today is the first day of the Vernissage. We're expecting some major international media coming through to the Aotearoa New Zealand Pavilion. So I just want to give my big shout out to Tangata Whenua, the Maori people. Aotearoa will always belong to you. And then shout out to Samoans worldwide. Remember, we're celebrating our 60th anniversary of independence in Samoa in 1st of June this year. I just want to give a shout out to everybody in the creative team, Creative New Zealand. Love you all. Natalie, do you want to say anything?
Well, we're thrilled to finally be here after thousands of Zoom and 2 years of waiting. Yuki's work looks absolutely astonishing, as you can see behind us. There's been incredible media response so far, and we're absolutely thrilled to be on site with our core team, celebrating, and with all of you today.
You want to say something?
Hi, everyone.
It does feel great to be here, though, and I've been really excited by the response of people around the other pavilions, the real interest in New Zealand. Come to the yellow door. We're really lucky to have this distinctive yellow door with really clean windows on it, so people can easily find us, and it's really exciting for us.
I think what's been really interesting being here is that just the mere fact that we're here, you know, it's like Yuki. So if this is what you do, then what else do other artists doing from Aotearoa, New Zealand? Yeah. So this causes even more curiosity, you know, to explore more about, you know, Aotearoa contemporary, you know, art culture. So which is great.
You know what I love though? That you've brought part of the Pacific to Venice, from our islands all the way in the Southern Hemisphere, right up here to the north. And you've brought this warmth to the Biennale that, like nothing ever before. And we are so proud of you.
Thank you. I remember working with the lighting designer, and they asked me like, Yuki, so what sort of lighting do you want? Bring the sunshine to Aotearoa, New Zealand. That's what we want. Natalie, what were you saying?
Look, we've just been thrilled with the response so far, and we've really tried to establish a Faʻafafine utopia here with floor-to-ceiling wallpaper. It's 5 meters tall. You can see the huge oceanscape behind us with Yuki's dazzling high-key color, luscious photographs behind us. We have our press preview in a few hours, so we're preparing for that. And we hope that you will follow us on all the various New Zealand at Venice channels and celebrate with us.
I think that's it. But we have one word to describe what Paradise Camp is about. Starts with F, and it's Faʻafafine!
Ooh la la! Beautiful dusky maiden. Magnifique. Talofa lava. My name is Yuki Kihara. I'm an interdisciplinary artist of Samoan and Japanese descent. I was born in Samoa but migrated to New Zealand, and I have a joint citizenship of New Zealand and Samoa. Oh, bonjour, je m'appelle Paul Gauguin. And as you know, I'm a painter, printmaker, and sculptor, and I'm French. Falong mai oi Paul. It's been great to catch up, but I have to go. I'm representing Aotearoa, New Zealand at the 59th Venice Biennale with my own exhibition, Paradise Camp. Tō whāsui fua.
Tēnā tātou, tō tātou karakia whakamutuna. Kei au te tauranga tū, te mauri tū, te whiwhianuku tū. I puritia mai rā I roto I te whiwhiaroto. Tēnei te mauri ka whakapiki, te mauri e rangi e tūnei. Ka whakatuwhera e rangi, he putanga ariki, mōku no tū ki te whakatauira mai. Tēnei te mauri ka whakakake, te mauri ka puta ki te whaiao ki te ao marama. Haumi e hui e tāi ki e.